Hello, Dr. Unnikrishnan, and welcome to this interaction on Healthy Wrinkles channel. Healthy Wrinkles is a channel which is created for dissemination and spread of information, primarily to senior citizens of our country. And that's a significant population now, and they have a lot of medical needs, a lot of medical information. So we are going and talking to experts from different areas. Today, we are going to talk to you on diabetes. We have lined up on cardiology side, other disorders, gastrointestinal problems, skeletal-muscular problems, orthopedicians, ENTs, dentists, and virtually every specialty. So we plan to have interactions with them, small interactions. We also keep on getting certain question answers from senior citizens, and we'll try and incorporate those question answers as we go forward. We are also getting a few paramedics and also physiotherapists and other branches, experts from other branches, because they are also becoming very, very important for delivering total care to the senior citizens. Technology, science has advanced in a number of situations, number of cases, and getting some of those technology innovations to senior citizens through this channel is also an objective because some of them, they can impact the quality of life significantly and can make it near normal. So holistically, we are looking at the total care that is being delivered to senior citizens of our country, and how in a small way, at least, we can help them by having the right set of information available with them, and not only for managing their disorders, but also in many cases, how do we prevent some of those disorders or delay some of those disorders. So I will urge viewers to continue to watch our YouTube channel and also share with your colleagues, friends, and also subscribe to it. I welcome Dr. once again, and I would like to introduce Dr. Unnikrishnan to all of you viewers. I'm going to share my screen. Dr. Unnikrishnan is an endocrinologist and CEO of Chelaram Diabetes Institute, Pune, which is a leading diabetes institute in India, as well as an IFD certified center for education. He has undertaken several initiatives with this initiative while managing thousands of patients in Pune, as well as across the boundaries of Maharashtra. He has also done a significant amount of work, and he loves research development and publications. He has published the largest multicentric study of subjects with pancreatitis and pancreatic diabetics worldwide, in addition to many other publications. He has more than 160 publications in index journals, which is quite a number, and then amount of work that he does for the institute and also for the patients. In spite of that, I think finding time is really very, very the point of appreciation, Dr. Unnikrishnan.
Thank you.
He has received several awards from Endocrine Society of India, from RSSDTI, and from Christian Medical College, to name a few, and several more, which I'm not mentioned over here. But Dr. Unnikrishnan, I know him for over last 20 years, and more than just a doctor, also a great human being.
Thank you.
Dr. Unnikrishnan, welcome once again.
Thank you.
Today we are going to talk 4 or 5 specific areas, and being your area of specialization being diabetes and endocrinology, we are going to focus our conversation around diabetes and endocrinology. So one of the first question, Doctor, I have is, given that you're involved in diabetes management and diabetes care, patients of all age group, what is the specific or special that you like to mention when it comes to diabetes management of senior citizens, and what has been your experiences and what you like to share with viewers?
So in my view, when we treat or when we interact with senior citizens, there are 2 or 3 problems. The first thing is that senior citizens have not just diabetes, but they have many other diseases. They may have many other problems. They have high cholesterol, they have high blood pressure, and they may have other illnesses like cardiac disease. And the second thing is that many of them also are have a lot of interest in looking after their health, because that's a positive thing of a senior citizen's life, because they are able to devote time to their health, to know about the disease, and to know about awareness. So I think there are two angles. One is, of course, the problems that they have, and what is more inspiring is their approach to the problems, their desire to know more, the desire to prevent disease, their desire to follow a healthy lifestyle. So I think that brings in a lot of positivity to the senior citizens' life. And as a doctor, I've enjoyed interacting with them and actually learning a lot of life's lessons when I interact with them.
Given, doctor, the pandemic that we have, we had seen around us, and also, still we are not completely out of it, COVID. What is a special that comes to your mind when it comes to COVID, diabetes management, and especially among, again, elderly citizens? So what's a special one or two aspects in terms of the management, or in terms of any other advice that you would give?
So the most important management tip I have to give to senior citizens is that do not worry, do not panic. Because whenever I see a senior citizen, most of them are considering, doctor, I'm old, I have diabetes, I'm staying alone. If I get COVID, what will I do? But really, I think it's important to note that though COVID has a predilection for people with diabetes and for elderly, majority of COVID transmission can be reduced by simple steps such as wearing a mask, a hand sanitization, and social distancing. And if you're following all the lifestyle advice, if your diabetes is under control, your blood pressure is under control, and you're taking health precautions, my advice to senior citizens is that avoid panicking and worrying about COVID. At the same time, be cautious and take all the precautions that are required. So, in one word, I'd say no need to panic.
So, doctor, you advise to continue all your diabetic patients, including seniors, with the same kind of lifestyle intervention that they were having prior in terms of the diet, exercise, medication. Even now, they should continue with that. Is that correct?
That's correct. So you see, as a doctor, I see two groups of people who come to us during COVID with diabetes. One group is the group whose sugars are high because that's when they come to the doctor. What I find, and the other group whose sugars are very well controlled. So I spend some time interacting with both groups to find out. And that's why I use the word do not panic. So the group who has got worried about COVID and they have, you know, really their lifestyle has been hampered because of COVID. They are not able to follow diet. They are not able to follow exercise. They are not testing. That's a group where the sugars are high. But the other group who has taken this pandemic positively, I don't know if you can take it positively because a pandemic is a pandemic, but at least use that opportunity to be more active at home, to spend time with their old friends and family members, and to eat a healthy diet and to do whatever exercise, even if it's on their balcony. If they do that half an hour of physical activity, that group has actually done very well. Their blood sugar levels are under very good control, and that's why I think a little bit of positivity can go a long way when dealing with the pandemic. Because I think that's where I think I find the people who are positive are doing very well. So I encourage all our senior citizens listening to this be as positive as possible. And another point is not to neglect the non-COVID diseases like diabetes and hypertension, chest pain. So some people have who have chest pain or other symptoms of they tend to worry and they tend to stay at home because of the worry of going to a hospital. What I suggest is do not worry. Most hospitals are safe if you follow all the precautions and do not neglect non-COVID illness. For example, a small problem like a dental infection. If you go and show a doctor and take a simple antibiotic, it can be easily corrected. But if you sit at home and it becomes a pus-filled abscess, it can be a big problem. So I think don't neglect the non-COVID illnesses because of the worry of COVID and stay positive.
Coming to one, since we're talking about managing diabetes, what are the kind of routine monitoring that you recommend generally for all the patients with diabetes, and again especially for the senior citizens? So do you have any special guidelines or anything special for senior citizens, or you follow general guidelines which are monitoring guidelines for everyone? They are same, and what are they?
So today, now we are in the era of precision medicine. Precision medicine is precisely tailoring the treatment to a particular age group. For example, a senior citizen who has got a lot of not just diabetes but heart disease and is staying alone may be treated differently in terms of their risk as compared to a non-senior citizen. By what I mean is that in a senior citizen, maybe a very elderly person above the age of 65, the guidelines say that the HbA1c, HbA1c is a single test which gives the blood glucose control of the last 3 months. That should be kept below 7 or even up to 7.5 is okay. Why is that? That's because the moment you are over aggressive in a senior citizen and try to bring down the blood sugar levels to very, very low normal ranges, there may be a risk of a problem called hypoglycemia. Hypoglycemia is low blood sugar, sugar going below normal. That can lead to fainting, sweating, palpitations, trembling, all sorts of symptoms in elderly people. So, and also such low sugars can even trigger a cardiac event also. So, because of these worries, in an elderly patient, I try to be a little conservative, especially if there are other diseases like heart disease or history of stroke. But this is not to say that elderly people should deserve less treatment. No, they deserve a more precise treatment. Yes, we should take all means to make sure that they live a long and healthy life, but we should avoid being over aggressive in treating elderly people with a lot of medicines and with an over aggressive approach, because sometimes these medicines can also interact with each other. What we call the use of multiple pills. One pill can interact with each other. The drug interactions are more common in older people. So these are some of the things a doctor has to take into consideration. And also, I always want to add uh, life to the years of the senior citizen, because it's not enough for me that I get a glucose level under control or a lipid level under control. I want my senior citizen patient to walk well, to enjoy life, to be happy, to have a wholesome life. So I can give an example of one person who came to me. His blood glucose levels were under control and he was following a very, very severe starvation diet. And he had become very thin and very frail. So that's not what I want. I want a healthy person. So a healthy person is important, not somebody who's uh, who's frail and old and starving and trying to control sugar. Yes, the sugar may be under control, but is the skin glowing? Is the person happy? Are you contented? Are you happy with your diet? Is the diet tasty? I think all these things matter, but at the same time, the diet has to be also healthy. So, little bit of advice for senior citizens is our goal is to have an overall health, not just bring down the number of blood sugar, the number of the blood pressure, or the number of cholesterol.
Doctor, my last question is, I understand and I've been reading about, this 2020 to 2030 has been announced by WHO as, a decade of healthy aging. Yeah. So what would it mean? And also, you are doing a lot of work in not only in Pune city but around rural areas and so on and so forth. So so what would it mean when it comes from diabetes management or management of senior citizens in the context of healthy aging? And what is healthy aging? Also, if you can sort of just talk about it, I think that would be very relevant.
I think healthy aging is to recognize, firstly, that there is aging, and at the same time, to keep it healthy. In other words, it's important that health is not just a state of physical health, but also a state of emotional, behavioral, and social health. So I think a holistic health is what is meant by healthy aging. For example, as we grow older, all of us know I am 51, so I'm not really young anymore in that sense. So our muscle mass comes down, our fat mass goes up, our blood pressure goes up, our blood sugar goes up. So recognizing all these things, uh, we use this opportunity of aging to discipline ourselves, to increase the protein intake, to cut down the junk food, to make ourselves as active, because when somebody is young they may need to exercise only 15 minutes a day, but when you're older you may need to extend that walk for up to 1 hour because you need to exercise your tired muscles to keep them from working, keep them from failing. So I think these little considerations in help in elderly will really help. So increase your protein intake, drink lots of water. Do not overstrain yourself while exercising, but increase the duration of your exercise. Make sure your diet is rich in all the proteins, fats, a little bit of carbohydrate, all the minerals and vitamins by making it as colorful as possible. Colorful by, I mean, a lot of green leafy vegetables, fruits, and so that the diet has got a variety to it in color and fiber. So all this will together help in healthy aging. And at the end of the day, healthy aging is that you are at peace with yourself, your family, and your surroundings, and you are physically healthy. What more we require? We require health. We require to be with people who give us happiness, and we require to be part of a society which will give us contentment. It's also important that we are not to remember that all senior citizens feel lonely. I think it's important to overcome loneliness by two things. I don't have to tell senior citizens. Healthy Wrinkles itself is a group of senior citizen helping people. So the importance of company, I don't need to tell people. The second thing is ask for help. There's nothing wrong in asking for help. It could be from your children, it could be from your neighbor, it could be from your friend. You will be surprised that if you just ask for help, there will be people there to help you. So do not feel bad about asking for help, because asking for help is also a method of socializing. Why I say this, in the corona pandemic, a lot of people are worried about stepping out from home. Some are worried because they think if I go out from home, I'll get COVID and I'll give COVID to my family members, or that there's nobody to take me to a hospital or for a shopping. I think go ahead and ask members of your own community, your own building, your own society, family members. And I think all these will make us much more happier and help us have a healthy life.
So I thank you, Doctor, once again for your time and this interaction. And we hope and we expect that, to get you once again after a few months on some other related topic, as our viewers will continue to push us, and I'm sure we will do that. So thanks, Doctor, once again for your time. And we enjoyed, and we expect, I'm sure all the viewers also would enjoy this interaction. So thanks once again, Doctor.
Thank you.